Hi, today we are going to be looking at animals in urban environments and I'm going to be telling you about some research on how they are affected by these environments. Now, in evolutionary terms, urban environments represent huge epilephases, sort of massive things that usually happen over millions of years. And we used to think that only a few species could adapt to these new environments. One species, which is well known as being highly adaptable, is the crow, and there have been various studies about how they manage to learn new skills. Another successful species is the pigeons, because they are able to perch on ladders on the wall of city buildings, just like they on perches of hills by the sea. But in fact, we are not finding that these early immigrants were just the start of more general movement of animal into cities and of adaptations by this animal to city life. And one thing that researchers are finding especially interesting in the speed with which is they are doing this, we are not talking about gradual evolution here. These animals are changing fast. Let me tell you some of the studies that have been carried out this area. So, in the University of Minnesota, a biologist called Miss Snell wrote and here colleges cooked as specimens are of urbanized small animals such as mice and coppers that had been collected in Minnesota, and they are now kept in museums there. And she looked at specimens that had been collected over the last hundred years, which is very short time in evolutionary terms, and she found that during the time these small minimums, these small mammals had experienced a time in primates when compared to true mammals. No, we cannot no, we cannot be sure this means they are more intelligent, but since the size of other part of the body didn't change, it does suggest that something cognitive was going on. And Stanrod think that this term might reflect the cognitive demands of adjusting to city life, having to look in different places to find food, for example, and coping with a whole new set of dangers. Tens offer in Germany at the Max Planck Institute. There another biologist called Katharina Miranda who's done some experiment with blackbeard living in urban and rural areas. And she is been looking not at their autonomy but at their behavior. She as you might expect. As you might expect, she's found that the she finds that the urban blackbeards tend to be quite bold. They are prepared to face up to a lot of threats that will present away their contrary counterparts. But there is one type of situations that does same of threatens to urban blackbird, and that's anything new, anything they haven't experienced before. And if you think about it, that's quite sensible for birds living in the city. Jonathan et al. In Indian University is looking at how a range of animals respond to urban environments. He has found that when they are under stress, the endocrine system raises by recording and hormones or hormones such as corticosteroids into their blood. Is accessible seeming adaptations are that cats create every time Subway train rules but wanna be very successful. There is just one more study I would like to mention, which is by Sarah Partan and her team, and they have been looking at how squirrels communicate in any urban environments, and they have found that around 20% of the communication is carried out by moving the tiles. You do also see this in the country, but it's much more prevalent in cities, possibly because it's effective in noisy environments. So, what are the long term implications of this? One possibility is that we may see completely new species developing in cities. But on the other hand, it's possible that not all of these adaptations will be permanent. Once the animal got accustomed to its new environment, it might no longer need the future its development.